Speaking of movies that I have not been excited about, The Creator is one that they first showed us our preview for it back at CinemaCon in April. And I was with the whole group and they played this preview for The Creator. And I was the only one in the room that didn't think it looked all that good, to be honest with you. Everybody else loved what they saw. And I thought, I mean, I really liked the director, but I was like, I don't think this looks all that good. Now, the last trailer came out, and I went, okay, now it's got me on board now. Now I'm on board. Well, they just had the premiere for the film, and the first reaction, the full reviews are not out yet, but the first reactions are now coming out, and some are calling it an all-time sci-fi classic, could be best film of the year, all that kind of stuff. Listen to some of the reactions we got. Brandon Davis writes, The Creator is astonishingly good. Best film of the year and best sci-fi film in ages, in my opinion. Gareth Edwards flips expectations really impressively for visceral, touching, and creative story of humanity. Genuinely loved it. You have to see this one. Hunter Bolding writes, Gareth Edwards doesn't miss with The Creator. The movie takes place alongside Terminator 2, Alien, and Star Wars as absolute smashing examples of how sci-fi can parallel our world. It's easily among the best films of the year. Again, this is not small praise we're getting here. Griffin Schiller writes, The Creator is a masterful piece of original sci-fi. Gareth Edwards is one of our great filmmakers, a soulful, nuanced, Lucas-like interrogation of a human beliefs and biases and our insecurity in the face of something greater. Spectacle and heart to the highest order, pure cinema, baby. Courtney Howard writes, though it pulls from identifiable inspirations, The Creator is one of the best original sci-fi epics in years. Massively entertaining, enthralling, and profound on every level. Gareth Edwards constructs an immersive world and fills it with compelling characters. Absolutely radical. Perry Nemiroff writes, visually, The Creator is phenomenal. If you want a cinematographer on the rise to keep your eye on, it's Oren Soffer. This movie is one stunning frame after the next. We also go to our friend Jermaine Lucier, who writes, The Creator is a bold, fun sci-fi delight. It has an engrossing story, gorgeous visuals, resonant themes, and epic action. My main problem is that it didn't make me cry. It tries very hard, but a tiny lack of connection means it just misses being a perfect package. But only just. We go on to Kristen Maldonado, who writes, The Creator is an ambitious sci-fi odyssey with a profound take on humanity, acceptance, and freedom at its core. John David Washington gives a career best performance, while Madeline Yuna Voiles, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, proves she's a young actor to watch. The third act surprised me. This film went there. I'm curious to know where there is. Also, we got Joseph Declamere writes, The Creator is a masterpiece and one of the year's best movies. It hits on so many levels, with AI being such a hot topic. Gareth Edwards does a masterful job of keeping the audience engaged every step of the way. It just goes on and on. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Rocket Money. Did you know that the average person has around 12 paid subscriptions and they might not even remember to subscribing to half of those? If you have no idea just how much you're spending each month, you need Rocket Money. It's this great app that tracks all of your expenses so you know exactly where your money is going. I recently just found out that over 80% of people have subscriptions that they've completely forgotten about. Seriously, think about how many free trials you subscribe to that you just probably never canceled. And that's why I'm such a big fan of Rocket Money, because I was one of those people. When I signed up to Rocket Money, I was stunned to find out that a gym I had belonged to in another city I lived in, I had still been paying my dues to for over 2 years. Also, that music subscription service I use, I forgot I was subscribed to 2 other ones. That's where Rocket Money comes in, because Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. With over 3 million users and counting, Rocket Money customers have saved on average of $720 a year. So stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/Campea. That's rocketmoney.com/Campea. rocketmoney.com/Campea. Rob, we hear sometimes with movies, first reactions come out saying, it's great. It's really good. Had a blast. Had a good time. It is not often that we hear the first reaction saying, this is one of the best sci-fi movies ever. This is the best thing made in years. This is maybe the best film of the year. Remember, we're talking about a year that we've got Oppenheimer and stuff like that out. This is way beyond anything I was expecting as somebody who was not impressed with the first presentation we saw. But I'm all of a sudden extremely excited to see this. What have you been expecting from the creator? What has your anticipation level been like it? And what do you think? And what's standing out to you about the reactions we're hearing?
Well, first of all, I really like Gareth Edwards' first movie, Monster. And he made it for not a lot of money, and he did a lot of the visual effects himself. And when I saw that film, I'm like, here's a new filmmaking voice, and I can't wait to see what new original material he makes. And then, of course...
Want to feel old? Monster was like 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And it feels like he didn't do it all that long ago. 13 years ago.
13 years ago. And then, of course, he gets co-opted to do Godzilla. Kind of like Colin Trevorrow does Safety Not Guaranteed, and then he's off to do Jurassic World. And I kind of was bummed out because I'm like, okay, that's fine. But what I wanted from him was a new vision. And this is exactly the kind of thing that I'd hoped to see from him. And now he's been able to cut his teeth on two massive studio movies, which, were problematic in terms of their production. He brought in Tony Gilroy to help on both. And to see this film get these kinds of notices. Look, technically this movie looks amazing to me. The world building is incredible. The new trailers have me hooked. But to hear this kind of enthusiastic response, really, I'm very excited to see this, an original, non-IP science fiction epic story that, I'm sure it's going to be very familiar to me on certain levels, but I don't care. I can't wait to see it.
You know what it feels like to me? It feels like Children of Men had a baby with District 9, with District 9. That's it looks a little bit like a Neil Blomkamp movie in some ways on its surface, but with a Children of Men kind of feel to it.
Yeah, a little Alfonso Cuarón doing because it's funny that you say that, because Children of Men had this sort of melancholy, this is the end of humanity feel. And I really love Children of Men. I think it's a great film.
Oh, it's fabulous.
But this does, you're right. I mean, mood-wise, even in the trailer, you get that Children of Men vibe. Maybe it'll make a great double bill with Children of Men in revival houses from now until the end of time.
Now, Ray, this is some justification for you because you've been all on board the creator from the first time when we were in Vegas in April and you saw this, you've been 100% on board with this movie. What do you think about these reactions we're hearing?
I think the first time we saw the trailer and that the child, they turned their head.
Yeah, and then you see the robotic parts.
That's where I was like, okay, this is cool. And then we saw the shots of I think there's a war obviously going on.
Yeah.
And we see behind the ships, and you see the island that they're on. I thought that shot looked great. We're seeing it in 8 days on the 28th.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see this. I love John David Washington. I think he's a good actor. And Gemma Chan's in this too, so it will be good to see her on screen again.
I keep forgetting that Gemma Chan's in this.
Yeah.
John, what else? If this movie does well, I think that there's a clear message being sent by the movie-going public that they want to see original. This follows up on Barbie. This follows up on Oppenheimer. It's a new science fiction epic. And if it does well, I think it sends a clear message to the studios, and maybe we'll get more original material coming from very talented filmmakers.
Here's the thing, though. I bristle against that a little bit just because there's been a lot of original movies made over the last number. It's just that the audience hasn't gone to support it.
Right, but I mean at this level.
Yeah, but now that brings us to the next question, though. Because on top of the fact that I didn't really love what I saw back at CinemaCon, obviously I'm pretty excited about it now. I said at the time, this movie's not going to make any money. I still don't think this movie's going to make any money.
Right.
I hope it does for all the reasons you just said, right? Show that, take chances, make these types of movies that we would like to see. If I had to give you an over/under percentage, what are the chances this thing can make $100 million opening weekend? I'm going to go 5%. I think it's going to be closer to honestly, I think it's going to be closer to 35 million opening weekend.
I agree with you. And even that's high.
You think so?
Yeah. And look, I'm just excited. This weekend on Hulu, I believe it's No One Will Save You is starting. Catherine Dever, the alien invasion, home invasion movie.
Yeah.
I mean, these are Fox movies. Fox is sort of over 20th Century Studios that Disney owns. They made Prey on Hulu. They made the Hellraiser movie on Hulu. Something in No One Will Save You, Hulu. Now this coming out theatrically. I mean, Fox has sort of quietly been, Steve Asbell and the team over at 20th Century Studios, they're doing some good work. Good for them. Let's see them go. Let's give them their time in the sun to shine.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.